So what's going on, everyone? I've been thinking about a question that I ask very often when I'm interviewing someone, and that is, what is something that hangs on the wall in your home? And I was thinking a little deeper about this, and it's a question that I really like because I think it is a gateway into stories and into learning about the person that I'm interviewing. I think the things that you decide to hang up in your home that you see every day and you deal with every single day says something about you. And usually, if you point to certain things and explain why they're up there, why they're important to you, you can learn a little bit about somebody. So, taking it a step further, I feel like there's a show here. I think that it has the vanity appeal of like a Cribs, the same way that Cribs did, whereas, you get to walk through somebody's home and see what they've got. But it's also an intellectual or more intellectual version of Cribs in the fact that I think it's an interesting way to conduct an interview. If you were to walk through someone's home with them as the show, as the camera's rolling, a video camera on TV or, on your phone, whatever it may be, platform is irrelevant, and have them walk you through all of the things that they have chosen to put up on their home that represent them or tell something about them. I think there's something to this. So all those people listening, my friends, non-friends, just listeners who are in the show business world and are involved with making things happen in that regard, think about it and give me a call. So to use myself as a test case, without the video walkthrough, I'll post pictures of each item on my Facebook page when I post this, or maybe on Instagram. We'll see wherever I post it. But I'm going to walk you through everything that's hanging in my house and explain why it's up there and see kind of how it goes. And if you think that this could be something that maybe we all should do and all should think about. So I live in Brooklyn in a 2-story, 2 floors, brownstone. So the upstairs where you walk in is where our kitchen and living area, dining table is. And I would say most of the things, the majority of the things hanging up there are lean towards my wife. Whereas the downstairs where our bedrooms are and our boys' bedrooms are and another small hangout area, more casual, is where I kind of dominate. So that's how the house is split up. So I'm going to start upstairs with mostly my wife's stuff, and we'll talk you through it. And hopefully you'll find it interesting. And if not, you're not paying anything to be here, so move on with your life. First, the biggest piece of art in our house on the wall is something called Atlas. It is pretty massive. It's a print by an artist, Chitra Ganesh, who was part of an exhibition that my wife curated in 2014 called After Our Bodies Meet. And what it is, obviously, we know the story of Atlas holding up the world. This is a queer feminist reimagining of Atlas. And like I said, it's massive, colors. It's just a really nice print, really huge, and dominates the main living area in my upstairs house. And we bought it in 2014 when our first son Bodhi was born as just we obviously, my wife had a connection to it and to Chitra Ganesh from the exhibition, so we wanted to get something of hers, and we thought that the birth of our firstborn was a good time to do so. Next is a Phish. That's the music group, Phish, Phish. If I told my 20-year-old self that you would have a Phish poster hanging in your home when you're 40, I would have punched myself in the face. So get the fuck out of here. There's no way that is going to happen. Well, sure enough, here we are. It is from my first festy, as the Phish people like to call it. So my wife is a big Phish fan. I, as many of you know, lean more towards the hip-hop culture. So I've gone to a handful of fish shows since I've known my wife, and this one was my first festy. It was in Atlantic City in June of, I want to say, 2012. It was 3 nights. I didn't go to every show. She did. We stayed in like one of the nice hotels. I remember the NBA Finals were on because I stayed back and watched Heat Spurs one of the nights while she was out at the show. And so Fish has, I guess, artwork or a poster that kind of comes along with each one of their runs, their whole show deals. So it was 3 nights, and I got this for Alexis, for my wife, for the following birthday. It's a really cool poster. It's like split into 3 parts. It's the whole Atlantic City boardwalk, and it's really nice. And it's if you missed the headline, a fish poster that hangs in my house, which is just a crazy thing to think. Moving on, are 2 photos, one on top of the other. They're not photos, they're x-rays actually, of my wife's pelvis, arm, and femur. Before we were together, about over 10 years ago now, she got in a terrible accident in a dog park. 1,000-pound tree branch fell on her. Broke all the bones in the right side of her body. If she was sitting an inch in the other direction, definitely no coming out of that. It was massive amounts of surgery and rehab and moving back home and wheelchair and just awful, awful stuff. I can't even imagine. Obviously, I didn't go through it with her at that point. But obviously, she persevered and is a healthy woman today. But to keep that memory alive because of what it meant and what a crazy event it was in her life, we have a representation of it in our home, of these 2 x-rays framed that you can see rods and screws that are in her body right now. So that is also hanging upstairs in between the kitchen and the dining room area. One thing that is not on the wall, but it's like leaned up against, that I just wanted to mention, is a small black picture with a silver Wu-Tang logo, and it's signed by every member of the Wu-Tang. My wife got that for me for some event a handful of years ago. I had to throw that in there so I get some representation in the upper level of our home. Moving on to the upstairs bathroom, there is a Larry Clark photo. It's small, right above the toilet in our guest bathroom, and it's a photo of the main character in his film What's Up Rockers, which is a skateboarding flick with Latino kids in Cali. Alexis got that one and she put it up there. Again, her work on the upper level. And then one more thing upstairs is another big piece of art. Zanelli Muholi is a activist first, artist second, or she uses art as a tool for activism, which is something that my wife does in her curating gigs, where she puts together exhibitions that are a combination of art and activism. So this artist spoke to her, and what her series is, it's called Faces and Phases, and it's a series of black and white photos of South African lesbian and transgender women. And we have a black and white photo in a nice white frame. It was the first big piece of art that we bought when we were together, and that is right before you head downstairs. So now you're walking down the stairs, you get to the bottom of the stairs, and there is a photo of Method Man, in my opinion, the greatest rapper to ever live, to ever pick up a microphone. It's a picture of him holding a blunt, and it's from a photo shoot for a Source magazine cover. So I was in a store in Brooklyn about 6 months ago on Court Street, not too far from where we live, and I saw this photo and I was like, I have to have that. And it ends up being, it's like one of 50 original prints from the Source. And the Source magazine is obviously was a big part of my childhood, and we'll talk more about the Source mag in a minute. But there's just an amazing photo of Method Man right at the bottom of our stairs. And it's teaching our kids a lot about life, as I can now say to either my 4-year-old or my 1.5-year-old, METHOD, and Bodie, my oldest, says man, and now Dre, my youngest guy, he'll be 1.5 in about 2 weeks, he says me, something like that. Me. He kind of gets it, but he's getting there. Moving into my bedroom, we have our ketubah, which in the Jewish religion is a document that signifies marriage. So it's really nice, framed, signed by our witnesses, which is a few of our closest friends. That is in a nice blue frame. And then we have Mixtiles, which is a great app I highly recommend if you want to get a gift for someone. So I got this for my wife, I want to say Mother's Day last year. And what Mixtiles is an app on your phone, and it syncs up to your photo album in your phone, and you just kind of open the app, click however many photos you want, and they make these little... I actually have 4 in my office, where I'm talking right now, additional ones that I brought here. It's about 3 by 3 little square with a sticker. It just sticks right on the wall. So I got 9 of those hanging in our bedroom, of us and the kids and the family, all kind of laid out like tiles. And it's a very cool gift, very cool app. Highly recommend Mixtiles. Check it out. On the other side of our room, near our bed, is a huge picture of the Wythe Hotel, which is where we got married, in Williamsburg. And it's an amazing photo, and it was the best wedding gift that we got. It was from my best friend Adam. It's really an incredible photo right by our bed, and it really is just a remarkable shot of obviously a place that means a lot to us and will forever. Moving on down the hallway as we head towards the more casual living area, I'll do these ones together because they obviously go hand in hand. 2 framed, or 1 of each framed, Kobe Bryant and Magic Johnson signed basketball jerseys, both framed right next to each other on top of a brick wall. If you know anything about me, I'm a diehard Laker fan, big sports fan my whole life, and far and away the 2 defining athletes of my lifetime are Kobe and Magic. I like the Lakers more than any other team, and those are my guys. Magic I look at as my sports father figure. I grew up on Magic. He was my idol growing up. He was my guy. I wanted to be him. I wanted to be like him on and off the court. And when Kobe came along, I'm more like the fatherly role. I was always protective of Kobe from day one. You can't say anything bad about him, and I'll fight you if you do. So those are my 2 guys, and signed jerseys back to back right next to each other, taking up a lot of space down there. Above the couch in the downstairs hangout, which is where the boys mostly play and watch TV, is a world map. This was important to me to get up there because traveling is something that I want to be a big part of my kids' lives and of my life and my wife's life. Like, it's important to us. We want to live abroad at some point, want to travel extensively. So this was a way to get that in front of them at an early age. And it hasn't even been there that long, probably less than 6 months, but already it's paying dividends in the respect that every night before I put my 4-year-old to sleep, we do a piggyback like around the downstairs, and he says good night to everyone. Good night, Method Man. Good night, Kobe. Good night, Magic. And when we get to the world map, we stop, and he says, can you show me some places? And we like talk about different places in the world. And now I'm using the World Cup as a guideline. So like he'll say, like, last night, who played today, Daddy? And I'll look and say, all right, it was Japan and Colombia, and we'll show him each of those on the map. And like I said, it's probably only been a month that we've like been doing that consistently, and already right now, if you put a map in front of my 4-year-old who just turned 4 last week, he can point out Kenya, because me and my wife are going there next month. He can point out Congo, South Africa, Australia, Colombia, Spain, Portugal. And more importantly than just knowing all these places, which is definitely important to me at least, It's putting in his head the idea that there's stuff out there and there's just more things to see, and we can't walk there, we have to travel. Like, Daddy, it takes a whole day to get to Australia. Like, that is in his head, and it puts some excitement around the idea of traveling. Moving around that room, above our fireplace, there is a black and white photo of a group of kids, which is done by photographer Sam Box, who is a friend of Alexis's and now a friend of ours. It's of homeless LGBT youth from Sylvia's Place, which is a shelter where Alexis and Sam met before I knew Alexis. Alexis was doing a project called the Hear Me Roar Project, where she was interviewing and recording LGBT homeless youth, and she met Sam there. And it's a black and white series, a documentary photo series of these kids called Invisible, just to kind of bring awareness to them. And it's just a group of kids hanging out, smoking cigarettes, just having a good time, and it's really a beautiful photo. Moving on to the other hallway right before the boys' rooms, a couple more. I have this LeBron piece hanging up, and it's just super cool. When I first saw it, I don't know, I probably had it for at least 10 years now, if not longer. It's a Sports Illustrated cover of LeBron as a junior in high school, and it says, this high school junior could be the number one pick in the draft right now, or could be in the pros right now, or something like that, and it's signed by LeBron. It's just a really awesome piece, something that I think is probably pretty rare. When I saw it before I was as big of a LeBron fan as I am now, because I used to be really hard on him because I knew the greatness that was in him and he wasn't achieving it early in his career, and that made me mad. But I still knew that this piece was just really cool, and I wanted it, and I got it. Across from LeBron is a poster of Catch 22, which was written by my great uncle, Joe Heller, whose autobiography actually just finished last month. Very interesting character. Catch 22, obviously a classic in American literature and American history, written by a family member, so we figured we had to represent there and get a Catch 22 poster up. And then finally, I'm not going to go into my boys' rooms, but in the boys' bathroom, which is pretty new, back to the Source magazine, and this was my wife's idea. In the boys' bathroom, we have 9 old Source magazine covers, all framed, 8 on one wall, 1 on the other. And my 4-year-old son now can name every single one. I actually posted a video of this on Instagram when we first put them up, but they're all 1990s Source magazine, which I subscribed to back then. Growing up in the hip-hop culture, that was my thing. And it looks awesome. They're all four in a row, and then Redman across in his own with an amazing photo. All covers. It's LL Cool J, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, the Fugees, Biggie, Tupac, and Queen Latifah. And then just for good measure, hanging on the light over the mirror is a Wu-Tang chain necklace that is probably not worth anything. It's definitely not worth anything. I probably got it out of a Cracker Jacks box, but always kept it with me, and it's just hanging there chilling with the other hip-hop memorabilia. So that's my show. So what do you think? Imagine it with someone actually walking around and showing these things as they're talking about it, being interviewed, and there was an interviewer there that could, probe a little bit more and go a little bit deeper on some of these things. I think we got something, guys. So let's hit me up. Let's make it happen. Or if you think that you would like to share what's hanging around on your wall, and that could be the name of the show, Hanging Around. Let me know, and maybe we can set something up and walk around your house, and you can show me what you have and why, more importantly. So there you have it for today. Hope you enjoyed the new, hopefully, show called Hanging Around, and all the stuff that hangs on the wall in my home. Thanks, guys. Always appreciate your time.